Now, we all, or most of us, have stories to tell of our own life journeys. They're a mixture of life's highs, lows, and, of course, everything in between. Well, author Shubnum Khan has inked hers beautifully in her part memoir, part travelogue, and part love letter titled How I Accidentally Became a Global Stock Photo. She offers an introspective reflection on what it means to be a woman, particularly a single Muslim woman in South Africa, trying to find herself in a modern world. In it, you'll also find unexpected twists and turns with reflections on culture and religion. Let's chat to Shubnum now this morning. Shubnum, good morning. Thanks so much for your time. And I must say, I've seen the book, and the cover itself really makes you want to get in there and see what this woman is all about. Your life sounds like one big adventure, brave and bold. What does this book, How I Accidentally Became a Global Stock Photo, tell us about you?
Hi, thanks for having me here today. Well, it's just a collection of stories about my strange adventures around the world. It does go a little bit into my childhood growing up as the fourth daughter of in an Indian Muslim family in Durban. And then it goes on to tell you about how I wanted to try and travel the world and do things. And then I had these strange adventures, which include how I accidentally became a global stock photo, how I became a bride on a rooftop in Shanghai, how I got stuck in a flat in Delhi after an earthquake.
Wow.
And yeah, it's just a collection of these adventures.
Wow, and it certainly sounds very adventurous. So I have to ask you then, you come from what many people see as a very traditional background, like you say, one of four daughters in a Muslim family. Some might want to ask you, how did you actually manage to do all of this as a single Muslim woman in South Africa? It's not a story that many can tell.
Well, you know, I think that's what I talk about in the book, was that for a long time I didn't think any of these things were possible. I didn't think, I was reading so many books as a child. I was reading about these magical faraway lands, and my grandfather was telling all these grandchildren all these stories. And so it instilled in me the sense of adventure and wanting to explore. But for a long time I didn't think that would be possible. And I kind of had to start pushing. And so when I was 27, I wanted to go and teach in a village, in a school in Kashmir, on a mountain. And, you know, there was all this back and forth between my father and I, and it was just like, why would you want to do this? Why would you want to go into basically this area where it's unsafe and go and teach these children? But I just knew if you keep reading books about being brave, but you don't be brave, then what's the point, you know? So that was like the first step when things started to change for me.
Oh, wow. Well, you know, from just skimming through the book, because I admit I only got it a couple of days ago. I'm not a speed reader as well. So, but just skimming through it, the stories just sound so enticing. It sounds like you really have lived a life many others actually dream of. Now, I want to know about the title and How I Accidentally Became a Global Stock Photo. What is the photo that you're talking about? What happened there that actually led to you now putting this entire book together?
So a few years ago, a friend in Canada told me, hey, is this you in this advert in a newspaper in Canada? And when I looked at it, I realized it was me. And so it started this discussion on Facebook about whether it was me or not. And then another friend told me, doesn't this look like a photograph we took at a shoot in Durban a few years ago? And I contacted the photographer, and he said, yes, you all signed a document that day, and you sold this photo as a stock photo, which I was completely unaware of. And so when I reverse Googled the image online on Google, I found that I was in adverts for carpet cleaners in New York, teeth whitening. I was leading treks in Cambodia. My name had been changed. I was teaching foster kids. I was in McDonald's adverts in Singapore and China and India.
Wow.
And I didn't know any of this, and if I hadn't checked online, I wouldn't have known, you know, in textbooks. And so I shared the story online and told people, you need to be careful what you sign, because I thought I was signing it away for an art project or for his portfolio. It was never made clear to me, and there were so many of us that day. And the story kind of went viral. It went on CNN and BBC and CBS, and I did all these interviews overseas, and it was like this crazy story of how I'd lost control of my photo.
But do you regret it, Shubnum? Do you regret it, seeing as it led to this now? I mean, this wonderful thing that you've done.
You know, I say at the end of the story that if it made somebody aware, if this story made one girl aware before she signed something online, then it was worth selling those condos in Florida because
or burgers in China. Yeah.
But thankfully I didn't have a very bad experience. There wasn't like any terrible photos of me, and I gave away the right for them to change the photos, so they would put acne and Photoshop the skin and put quotes, so they could have been a really bad experience. So thankfully I didn't have that.
Okay, all right, well, wonderful. Well, I'm glad in a way the silver lining to all of that is that we have this to read, How I Accidentally Became a Global Stock Photo. Shubnum Khan, can't wait to read the sequel. I'm sure with your adventurous spirit there are going to be many sequels. Thanks so much for your time. Well, that's it. I'd love to end on this note. What a positive, inspirational story.